Think about your last digital onboarding. Did it feel smooth and safe or confusing and risky? In this module, we'll turn strict eIDAS rules into a clear, trustworthy journey. From the very first tap to a qualified e-signature that real customers actually want to complete. You've already seen what digital identity is, how eIDAS and trust services work, and what the bank needs for remote onboarding and qualified e-signatures. Now we step into the user's shoes. Our task is to turn those business and regulatory needs into a concrete journey. Screens, steps, and messages that feel simple, yet still signal strong trust and security. This user journey then becomes the bridge to the next topic, where we translate it into high-level architecture and integrations. Think of the onboarding journey as one continuous story. People first discover the offer and decide to open an account. Then onboarding begins. We capture data, verify identity, and run risk checks in the background. If everything looks good, they move into contract review and signing, where a qualified e-signature is triggered. Finally, they receive confirmation, copies, and guidance on what to do next. By mapping this whole flow early, we align teams, identify integration needs, and spot where users might drop off or feel uncertain. The journey starts the moment someone taps "Open an account remotely." Right there, we set expectations. This process is fully digital but still legally binding. We then capture only the essentials using short guided steps, so people never feel overwhelmed. Next, we check eligibility and nudge them toward the right product, with honest feedback if they don't qualify. And before moving on, we prepare them for identity proofing, explaining what will happen, how long it takes, and what they need ready. Turning a journey into screens and states forces us to define what actually happens at each moment. Intro screens set expectations and build trust, especially around security. Form screens capture data, but also handle validation and helpful error messages. Verification screens guide people through identity proofing and keep them informed of progress. Signing screens focus on clarity, consent, and confirmation. Because each screen maps to specific backend services and API calls, architects can design session management, security checks, and failure handling much more precisely. Identity proofing isn't just a box to tick. Where you place it changes both risk and user sentiment. Running it early, right after basic data collection, avoids presenting contracts to people who can't be verified. Adding a quick eligibility or risk check before proofing saves users effort and reduces your cost. When users reach verification, explain why it's required, how long it takes, and how their data is protected. Also, design smooth transitions to external providers and predictable, reassuring fallbacks when something fails. Under eIDAS, you can verify identity in several ways, and the experience has to make that feel simple, not technical. A user might log in with a national eID, go through a remote identification like video or document plus selfie checks, or in some countries use bank-based identification. Shape the flow so people either see the best option first or can easily compare options by speed and requirements. Always signal which methods are eIDAS recognized and use trusted logos and wording to build confidence. Identity verification usually branches into two main paths. With eID, you lean on an existing trusted identity. The user authenticates in their national eID app or portal, and you receive a signed set of attributes. It's fast, highly reliable, and ideal where coverage is high. Document upload is more universal, but heavier. You orchestrate scanning, liveness checks, and third-party proofing. Designed for smart defaults, but never a dead end. If eID fails, fall back to the document flow. And if documents fail, offer eID where possible, so users always have a way forward. The signature step is where the contract truly becomes binding, so the UX must remove any doubt. Start by letting people comfortably read what they're agreeing to, with a scrollable document, a clear download option, and a short, human summary. Ask them to actively confirm they've reviewed it. Then, spell out that they're applying a qualified electronic signature, legally equivalent to handwriting. Finally, present a single, unambiguous sign button, and explain that the next screen may ask for strong authentication, like an app or SMS code. Imagine a customer signing a loan agreement in a mobile banking app. Before they tap sign, they see a short text explaining data processing, a link to full terms, and a clear statement that a qualified electronic signature will be used. They actively tick a box to accept, then confirm. Behind the scenes, every step is time-stamped and stored, so the bank can prove informed consent and the customer knows how to review or withdraw it later. For qualified electronic signatures, reauthentication is the safety lock before committing. You ask the user to prove their identity again, ideally right at final signing or after a long pause. Use a familiar method, explain why it's needed, show clear progress, and guide them smoothly back so the flow feels secure rather than disruptive. Once the user signs, the experience isn't done. Provide a clear "you're finished" message, a short recap of what was signed, when, and how, plus visible next steps. Give them evidence, downloadable documents, simple signature details, and a confirmation message. Finally, show where agreements live later and keep help just one click away. Balancing security and usability is about putting friction exactly where it earns its keep. Apply strong MFA, step-up checks, and tighter rules when legal or financial risk peaks, like at qualified signing. Elsewhere, minimize repetition, explain extra checks clearly, favor mobile-friendly flows, and let risk-based controls adapt. Then, track drop-offs, listen to feedback, and keep tuning the journey over time.